Okay, good morning again, all my regular loyal fans. Just got through security at Edmonton International. So, for any that don't know, I'm on my way to Tokyo. Um, Interesting thing. So, the last time that I went and did like kind of this trip, or a trip, was to Thailand. And so on that trip, I had to go from Edmonton to San Francisco, and then from San Francisco to the airports out of Tokyo, and then from Tokyo to Bangkok. As it works out this time, I'm actually just going from here to Calgary, and then there's a direct flight from Calgary all the way to Japan, weirdly enough. And the funny thing about that is, so when I did this the last time around, when I actually flew further, it cost me like $1,200, whereas this time I'm flying through the same airport that I went the last time, but it's $1,600. So it's costing me more to fly less of a distance, which I question a little. But I digress. So I'm gonna go visit a bunch of different places in Tokyo, but the whole kind of purpose behind this trip is to go visit my friend Dominic, who you all meet later. And Dominic's probably one of the short list of people that are actually watching these videos like the last time around. So look forward to reviewing your own videos online. It's not a very long trip. So kind of the purpose behind this is that I just finished up like all the CMA stuff now, just actually a little over a month ago. But it kind of took a little while for me to kind of like get my head back around being like a regular person again. I don't even know if that's necessarily true now. But school's done. It's been done for like a month. I booked the trip like ahead of time to try and sort of like balance like the convenience of like what the guys in the office got to take care of and stuff like that. Because apparently I care about such things. So now it's just me basically trying to kill time like on this trip because I got to go to Calgary. So I leave at 11 o'clock here. I think get to Calgary in like an hour, and I think I get one of the planes that has propellers but not the jet engines. And then I got to sit in Calgary for a few hours. But like in Calgary, I think I leave at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and then I get to the Japanese airport at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, like their time. So 15 hours flight, but I think I move ahead a day, but I'm time-wise, I'm kind of like sort of similar thing-ish. Like, I don't know, I never really completely understood the math. Like, just as long as you expect me when I told you I was going to get there, Dominic, that's when I'm going to get there. So, not really a whole lot to kind of report like at this point, because I kind of did the same thing I did the last time around. It's not nearly as early as the start of my last trip. Like, I went and got some guidebooks. And there's a few sort of like useful tidbits there, but like guidebooks are never really like great because it's kind of like a text description of something that'll be like way better or way worse when you actually get there. So for me, it's just kind of like trying to find the stuff that like match the idiosyncrasies of my personality, and home video blogs are like the whole thing, and sort of enjoy like watching people give me funny looks as they're like walking by because I'm talking to a little black box. I was actually considering getting like a new like tablet, not necessarily an iPad, because to make this whole like production work, I have to carry this little camera. But then I also have to have like a laptop that I can move the video from the camera to the laptop and then from the laptop to the internet. Whereas if you get this tablet, you can just kind of do that because it's got the camera in it. You can record the video and then edit the video and then put the edit video right up line. So the tablet that I have is first generation iPad, so it can't actually do that. But whatever. I didn't feel like spending the $500 to $700 right before like I was going on an expensive trip to Japan. So we're going to kind of look some extra stuff, which will be fine because it's all going to stay in Dominic's apartment. He was gracious enough to let me stay on his couch for the 10 days I'm going to be there. 10 days isn't a whole lot of time, so this trip's going to be a little bit of a sprint. I suspect I'm going to be able to put more of these videos up more regularly because in the last trip, internet was kind of dodgy in Thailand, so I'm just trying to... I think I'd be in a better position now to do like 10 minutes of video like a day of whatever it is that I'm doing and throw it online, like basically right after I get home, like right to Dominic's home, and then... so maybe on this 10-day trip, well, it'll actually be a little less because of the time zone. So maybe there'll be like 9 videos, like kind of like one for each actual functional day that I have, for all of you to enjoy. I don't think I'm going to be doing as much traveling outside of like the big cities because there's just not time for it. But a lot of stuff going on inside that city, so maybe you guys get to enjoy. Sure. All right, I'm hoping you all can like see this all right. So got on the airplane to Calgary, so I actually flew in that kind of plane. You can see the propellers going off. And I had to leave Calgary on this kind of plane, so this is probably going to be the one that I'm actually like leaving on. It's a couple hours early, but they tend to start these things moored and ready to go like way before the flight actually leaves. That was the case the last time I did this. So I don't know if I'm necessarily going to like record anything like during flight because that is an exceptionally long and boring way to spend one's time. I'm probably going to be watching like movies and reading books and sleeping as much as I can to try and deal with this time zone. Okay, everybody on the plane, on my seat. Alright, so quick update. I got to the airport. Turns out the place I gotta go is like way far away from the airport, so I actually had to go buy a bus ticket. And so apparently I'm gonna be sitting on this bus for like another 2 hours to go to the train station where I'm supposed to go and meet Dominic. So like wandering around the airport was kind of fun because I've been here before, but I hadn't really explored very much because it's just like a layover. There's a whole lot of people that were like kind of excitedly waiting for some celebrity in the terminal, and I had no idea who it was, but I saw a woman with like a "I love you, Flynn" sign, which made me kind of excited because for those of you that don't know, that happens to be my mother's surname. So you know, I'm sure my Uncle Tom would be very appreciative for all like the support he's getting from his loving Japanese fans. So I think it's pretty much a big taboo to play around with this kind of stuff like on the bus. So this will be sort of like a quick like update, and then when I actually get to this train station, we're going to meet Dominic. Then we'll introduce everybody to Dominic. It's like a little bit of like a noisy street. All right, so my loyal fans, this is my friend Dominic. So it was a little bit of an adventure to find Dominic because there's been sort of this like back and forth of like trying to call and trying to Facebook because there was places with free Wi-Fi, and ended up just being sort of a really vague descriptor of like I'm by the bikes next to the phone booth, but it turns out there's like 3 of those around here, so that was a very descriptive, a very confusing descriptor. So Dominic, just quickly introduce yourself to all of our fans out there, and like it's pretty much going to be you and my mom watching this, so like say hi to my mom, I guess.
Oh hey, I'm Josh's mom. What's going on?
Yeah, good to see you.
You know, I'm Dominic, one of Josh's friends from university. Did a lot of crazy things together. Some things forgettable, some things memorable.
Some things forgettable, yeah. So like Dominic's been here for like a couple of years now. How long have you been here, Dominic?
2 years and a half.
2 years and a half?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's really been that long.
So yeah.
So
not tons of time, but enough, I guess. More than enough.
Enough so that you're like learning language and whatever, and you just came back from like a trip yourself. I just saw some of like those photos up there.
Definitely, yeah. I was in Europe for a couple weeks. I was in Spain, went to Madrid and Barcelona, and went to Paris, and then I went to Lisbon and Sintra in Portugal. So.
All right, so this is getting a little bit nerdier than I thought it would be. So we're gonna go eat and we're gonna go talk.
So this is actually a view from not quite the balcony in Dominic's apartment, but this is like the balcony like right outside of his apartment. So because I've crossed so many time zones, I'm awake in the middle of the night, like I fell asleep, and now I'm like spry and ready to go, and it's 3 a.m. But like these guys have been working here pretty much since I got here. So you can see like guy down there with a flashy baton maybe. And so I keep waking up and I keep hearing like somebody like tapping away into concrete. So it was kind of like I don't know, like we're not actually in like Tokyo proper right now. This is just sort of like one of the cities that it adjoins to. So you could kind of make the equivalent of this being like St. Albert to Edmonton's Tokyo. But I thought I'd just kind of like show that to kind of showcase that seems to be often be the case that there's always something going on.
Okay, so where Dominic lives is next to like a train station, which is like super convenient. To describe some of the stuff around it, the train station is, I think it's kind of one of like the fringe lines. There's a lot of lines that intersect, and then they all go to like a central line that kind of does this like big loop, so everything like connects to that some way. He's got like a grocery store kind of nearby. There's actually like there's like a garrison kind of thing nearby, and then there's housing nearby that. So that's kind of like garrison being the guys that are actually in the American Army, and then I think families of people that sort of nearby. So he's got some like buddies that live over there. And that's also kind of a source for like American-ish kind of things, which is, being Canadian, it's close enough. But over on the other side of it, there's actually a 7-story 7-Eleven building. There's a 7-Eleven here. I mean, there's the department store, or excuse me, there's like the convenience store 7-Eleven, but in this case, there's actually like a whole department store. So it's kind of like anything and everything you might sort of need quick on the go, that's the place to go. So I'm probably going to go and visit that here like shortly. I just wanted to record something here because it's kind of worked out that I was getting pretty downer now because it was like a long traveling day just to get here, and then from Narita to where Dominic lives, I had to go jump on a bus. I had the option of the bus or the train, and it takes 2 hours to get from here because it's just that far away. You have to travel through like a bunch of other kind of like conjoining towns. So we got here, and I showed you like the videos of like me like hanging out with Dominic a little bit, and then we went to sort of like a popular like Japanese chain of like Japanese style curry, so like a mild curry, and we ate and we kind of caught up with some stories. And then Dominic was kind of giving me like the lowdown of like how to use the trains and things like that. And then we eventually came back to Dominic's house, and I'll take like pictures of it, sort of during like daytime, just like dude's asleep right now. But I first woke up at like 12 o'clock, ready to go, and so I didn't really know like what time it was till 12 o'clock midnight, and then decided to go back to sleep for a little while because I haven't really gotten sort of consecutive hours of sleep more than maybe like 2 or 3 hours, because of all like the traveling that I've been doing. Went back to bed and then just like popped out of bed at 3 a.m. and haven't been able to go back to bed since. which is fine actually, because the trains are going to start soon. And one of the first tourist sites that you can go and do is like this giant fish market where you can go in and find like the giant tunas and that being auctioned, and you're supposed to be able to go and get some of this food. And you'll see a lot of like interesting sea life. And what he seems to mention is being like a highlight of the trip to Tokyo. So I'm gonna start from there and then like bum around with some of like the guidebooks and sort of like work around from that. Because Dominic's a 9 to 5 or so. He and I are gonna try and connect like after his work days. But for the time being, it's kind of up to me to just figure it out. So. I want to upload this one to have like a first video up there, and then I'm going to sort of clear this video out, and then the next one should actually be like more than just like me talking about this trip. You'll actually get to like see stuff.